What's going on, everybody? This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and how in the F did we freaking get here? This Seattle Seahawks team was not supposed to be a playoff contender. They were supposed to be going through a rebuild. They had made a mistake at the quarterback position. They had gone after old guys on the defensive side of the football, and then all of a sudden, now the Seahawks control their own destiny in the NFC playoff picture. We're going to get into all of that and more on today's episode. Are you having fun? Because I'm freaking having some fun watching Seahawks football on Sundays. This was supposed to be a team that was old. This was supposed to be a team that was going defense while everyone else was going offense. This was a team that was not supposed to be competing not only for a playoff position, because they weren't supposed to be doing that. They weren't supposed to be competing for the NFC West, and they certainly weren't supposed to be competing for that number one seed in the entire NFC. Yet the Seattle Seahawks are doing it, and I'm having a lot of fun watching this squad. We're going to get into everything around the playoff picture and the build-up to how the Seahawks got there. But before we do that, I need to let you know we got a little competition going on here at Chat Sports. The Atlanta Falcons Today host Trace Moustakis and I decided that we should have a little bit of a sub battle this week since the two teams are going up against each other. So right now we're starting at 0-0. Help me out. Come in, subscribe to the channel if you love Seahawks football. And if you have a friend that loves Seahawks football, make sure to share the video with them as well. Help them subscribe so that we can beat the Falcons not only on the field, but here in Chat Sports. So I want to first look at the NFC playoff picture. And while right now the Seahawks are still in that number one wild card position, you are going to notice that they have the same record as the Rams, same record as the Bears, and a better record than the Eagles, Buccaneers, Packers, and the 49ers. What does that tell you? What does that tell me? It tells me that right now the Seattle Seahawks control their own destiny. Going into this week, you needed the Rams at some point to lose before you played them because they held the tiebreakers over you, even if the Seahawks beat the Rams on Week 16. Yet, the Rams, they fall to the Carolina Panthers. Seahawks fans, Seahawks players, Seahawks coaches, Seahawks front office, we get an absolute gift from Bryce Young and former Seahawks coach Dave Canales. So we control our own destiny the rest of the way. If the Seahawks win every game in front of them, you are going to be the number one team in the NFC, and you're going to be the number one team in the NFC West. So how the heck did we get here? Sorry, I'm not going to cuss, but I want to know how we got here. It was a season that was not supposed to be epic. It was a rebuilding type of year. People were going to figure out if Macdonald could build the same defense that he did in Baltimore, and he's done that and just so much more. We're going to take a trip down memory lane here in just a moment, but I'll tell you right now, I think this might be the most fun Seahawks team ever at this point. Now, some of those old Legion of Boom teams, obviously you had a lot of fun watching them, but how many times do you remember close, weird games happening in the Pete Carroll era? Well, they happened a lot in the Legion of Boom era as well, and this team that Mike Macdonald's got cooking in Seattle, there isn't a close game. If the team is worse than the Seahawks, other than maybe that Titans game, Seahawks absolutely blow the doors off of them. I'm having a lot of fun. Let me know if you're having a lot of fun watching the Seahawks as well. Now, in the preseason, these were the odds going into it. And, I don't know if you can tell, but the Seahawks are at the very bottom with the longest odds in the division. 49ers, they're obviously top of the table. Rams, and then for whatever reason, and I'll still never understand this, the Arizona Cardinals were ahead of the Seahawks. Like, I don't know what people saw in Kyler Murray. I don't know what people saw in what was being built in Arizona. But for some stupid reason, Seahawks were dead last. When you look at where everything sits right now, you're doing pretty darn good. Obviously, you're still in that second spot, and you have to be. The Rams won that first matchup against you. But, again, I can't reiterate this enough. You control your own destiny. You're ahead of the 49ers. Cardinals, they're not even listed. This is a great football team in Seattle, and it's because you zigged while everyone else zagged. You went out while everyone else was looking for an offensive mind. You hired a defensive-minded coach, a coach that knows how to stop the McVays who knows how to stop the Kyle Shanahans, the Kevin O'Connells. And he has created a tough football team in Seattle, built in his image. A team that doesn't care what the experts are saying, that doesn't care that they aren't supposed to be good. Sam Darnold doesn't care that he is supposed to see ghosts and be a bad quarterback. Jaxon Smith-Njigba doesn't care that he's supposed to be too small. DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't care that he's supposed to be too old. Ernest Jones doesn't care that he's playing a middle linebacker position. He goes and gets interceptions. And I think, to bring up DeMarcus Lawrence again, he reiterated what is the most important point of this Seahawks team and how this defense acts and how this team acts, and it's because of Mike Macdonald. When they go out onto the field, if you line up across from them, they knock you the F down. This is a tough, gritty football team that wants to win football games and wants to win it the right way. And they are built to win games in the postseason when the weather gets bad, when the weather gets scummy. I'm a little bit early on this take. Mike Macdonald might be the best hire in franchise history. Now, to be fair, it's early. I think if anyone says that Pete Carroll isn't the best Seahawks hire of all time, you're kidding yourself. He won a Super Bowl. But Mike Holmgren made the Seahawks very relevant while he was here, almost won you a Super Bowl. Ben Roethlisberger was down. Trust me, that fourth down was BS. Pete Carroll, he got you to that Super Bowl, got you to 2, only ended up winning 1. I think there's a world where Mike Macdonald might end up being looked at as the best Seahawks coach of all time. And the best part, he's young, so he can be here for a while. Let me know down below in the comments who you think was the best Seahawks coach of all time or the best hire of all time. MH for Mike Holmgren, PC for Pete Carroll, not PC principal, and for Mike Macdonald, MM. Now, here are some key defensive stats for this defense that I do believe early on in the preseason and in the offseason, there were a lot of fans of what Macdonald could build with the defense, but I don't think anyone thought that the group would be this good. Right now, the Seahawks, you've allowed 217 points total. That's good enough for third in the National Football League. Only 2 other teams have allowed less points than you. When it comes to rushing yards, you've only allowed 1,000 yards. Right now, that puts you in third. At the time of this recording, guess what? Patriots haven't played yet. And the Patriots only have given up 2 less yards than you. So really, you're going to be second in that statistic by the end of NFL Week 13. And total yards allowed, you've only allowed 3,400. That puts you in 6th in the National Football League. And what's most important, you might allow a little bit of yards in the passing game, but as long as teams don't score, that's the big deal. You also have 3 touchdowns defensively. Here's Ernest Jones's from the last game against the Vikings. And I think what this defense has just shown us, it's how quickly a good defense can be created if you have the right coach and right personnel in the front office to identify talent. Ernest Jones was a cast-off. Reek Woolen was a late-round pick. Devin Witherspoon, well, he was always going to be a star. Uchenna Nwosu wasn't supposed to be what he is. Leonard Williams was supposed to be too old. You go down the list of the guys that this team has gone out and picked up, and it all leads to a strong defense, the best defense in the National Football League. And I don't think I'm crazy to say that. And you got there because you hired a coach who knew how to build a defense with the system that he wanted, and he worked directly with John Schneider to build a team that can win a championship in just his second year with the team. I'm going to dive into some of the offensive stuff here in just a moment. But before I do, I need to let you know about our good friends over at PrizePicks. It is the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. PrizePicks. New feature alert. PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. We got some action going on tonight. I got a 3-pick Power Play. Drake May, more on his pass and rush yards. Jackson Dart, more on his pass, rush, receiving TDs, less on Young Wei Koo's kicking points there. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Now, I obviously just went off about how great the defense has been, but the offense has been superb as well. And I think it gets a little bit overlooked at times because they do it in a way that isn't sexy. You're not throwing the football all over the yard. You're trying to be built on the run and the play action pass. That's why you brought in Clint Kubiak. But at the same time, I would say that when you look at the statistics from QB1, I'd say 14's had a pretty darn good year. Now, after the last game, obviously wasn't a stellar performance, but he's going to be right around that 3,500-yard mark, potentially getting to 4,000 yards on the season. You take out that Rams game, half of his interceptions go away. His QB rating has been off the charts, and he keeps finding touchdowns for this team. This was a guy that was a castaway, thrown away. Hey, that Minnesota Vikings year was good until the very end because teams had gotten the film on him. 14's come in this year and said, no, I am a damn good QB. And he's found the best wide receiver in the National Football League. I remember going into this year, there was a graphic that had the best 10 receivers in the National Football League. JSN was not on it. And I tweeted out, this is a disgrace and a horrible list that they wouldn't put him on. And I got a lot of blowback saying, well, maybe he'll be there one day, but he isn't there yet. He's the best receiver in football. I don't know that he gets to 2,000 yards anymore. He would need a couple big games down the stretch, but 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. The guy doesn't drop the football, and when the Seahawks need him most, he's an absolute workhorse for this squad. But what's most important about JSN? He cares about winning over everything. He doesn't care that he didn't have a big game in the last one. The other important thing to mention with this offense, not going to blow your hair back, not going to make your sports pants tight, but I'll tell you right now, this rushing attack is getting better every single week. You're seeing Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet fit more and more into the scheme that is being built for them. And this offensive line, despite some poor play from one certain position, has been doing a great job as well. You are building a winner in Seattle, and you did it quietly. You did it while everyone else was making a bunch of noise. Everyone else was talking about, oh, how he did it again. Ben Johnson's coming in, going to make big plays. Matt Stafford, Hall of Famer, Sean McVay, best coach ever, blah, 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 blah. The Seahawks have quietly built a team that is going to win this year. That is evident and obvious. But you are going to be a winning team, a winning franchise for years and years to come because of the smart decisions that you made in the front office and with this coaching staff. There is a clear talent evaluating process that is working, as well as a talent developing process that is exceeding expectations in Seattle. That's how you freaking got here. We got here because John Schneider made a bold move. And he moved on from the only coach to win a Super Bowl in your franchise history. A move that some rejoiced in. I myself personally didn't love at the time. But it was clearly the right decision. And you have quietly developed and created a freaking monster in the Pacific Northwest. So enjoy the year and have fun. Because I certainly am. And it certainly looks like the players are as well. Help us out. Help us have some more fun. Subscribe to the channel. We got daily Seahawks content coming out for you. You don't want to miss any of it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.